Hey, what's up? My name is Daniela and welcome to a new video. So today I finally want to tell you how my reading goals for 2022 went. So during last year I was very much aware of my goals all of the time because I did a thing that really helped me with that, and that is I made a spread in a journal. This isn't my bullet journal because I don't really bullet journal, it's just a random notebook that I've been using for years. But anyway, I made this spread and, you know, I was regularly looking at it and updating it. So that really helped me. And also I did checking at the half of the year, and I thought about if I'm still okay with my goals, if there's still something I want to do. And yeah, I decided that I didn't want to change anything. So yeah, I went with the same goals for the whole year. One thing is that although I had this neat spread, I wasn't that great at updating it like all the time. With some goals I meant to update them quarterly, and with some just as I went, and this didn't always go as well. And even now, like, all of them aren't fully updated. So I will have to take a look and yeah, do the final evaluation. So my goals for last year had a theme. It didn't have a specific meaning, but when I was putting them together, the number 6 kind of appeared. So I went with it. So a lot of the goals have some sort of 6 in them. So my first goal was to read 60 books. That was a bit of a stretch because although I read more in some of the previous years, in 2021 I only read 50 books. So, you know, it was 10 more. I managed to do this one. Granted, I finished the last 2 on New Year's Eve, but anyway, I did read 60 books. Goal number 2 was to finish the 6 series. I managed to finish 5 series, which is a pretty good score, and I'm really glad. I didn't fully reach the goal, but still I'm pretty happy about this progress. So let's look at the series I finished. So the first one was the Brown Sister series by Talia Hibbert. I've been talking about this series for a lot recently because depending on when this is going up, there's Sister Along happening right now, which is hosted by Victoria from What Victoria Read, and yeah, we read a book a month. So in March we're reading Act 8 Eve Brown, and the live show is happening this Sunday. I will leave the links for the live shows in the description, and yeah, if they're already happened, you can watch them back. So I highly recommend it, and I also recommend it to people who maybe don't read as much romance, because this series is one of the best in the genre. So yeah, give it a try. The second series I finished was The King of Scars duology, which by Lee Bardugo, which is a series that comes after the Grisha trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. So we follow some of the characters mostly from the Grisha trilogy, and yeah, I really enjoyed the duology. So I think I gave King of Scars 4 stars and I gave Rule of Wolves 5 stars. The next series I finished was the Love Sisters series. Here it says it's a collection by Christina C. Jones. So this is a bind up of 3 novellas in this series, and the first one is I Think I Might Love You, which is one of my favorite romances. It is again an adult contemporary romance with a black main character, and it's incredibly funny and fresh, and you know, it has a non-frustrating 3rd act breakup, so that's something. So yeah, I really wanted to read the whole series, so I got this bind up. I didn't end up loving the 2nd and the 3rd novellas that much, but still I'm really glad that I read it, and yeah, I keep meaning to read more from Christina C. Jones. The 4th series I finished was The Themis Files by Sylvain Nouvel. So this is an adult sci-fi series, the first book being Sleeping Giants, the second one is Waking Gods, and the third one is Only Humans. I read the first one years ago, and my library didn't have the next volumes, so I finally took the plunge and got them secondhand. So that was great. I didn't end up loving all of the books, but again, I'm really glad that I finally finished the series. And the last series I finished was the Carl series by Hank Green. So the first book is an absolutely remarkable thing, and the second one is a beautifully foolish endeavor. This is again a sci-fi series, but again it's more like a lighter sci-fi, so it takes place on Earth and we follow a bunch of 20-somethings. And yeah, I loved the first book. I gave it 5 stars, and then I was a bit hesitant to pick up the second book, but I didn't have to be because I ended up loving it as well. 5 stars as well. So yeah, this is a series I highly recommend. Then goal number 3 was probably the hardest one. It had 3 parts, and in each part I wanted to read 6 books with specific rep, so that's 18 books in total. And the reps were age rep, bi rep and disability rep. And the main problem was that this kind of clashed with other goals I had. For this goal I had to seek out specific books. A lot of them I might not have owned, so yeah, that clashed with my other goals. And yeah, I didn't end up being like super diligent about finding these books. So yeah, I didn't achieve this goal, but let's look at how I did. So for the ace rep I read 5 books. So I read Loveless by Alice Oseman, loved it. The main character is 18 or 19 and goes to university, and she's figuring out her identity. Then we have Ella Toy by Darcy Little Badger. So this is a young adult paranormal, I want to say. So it is a slightly different version of the United States, and the main character is a Native American, and then we have like some paranormal things happening. She can talk to her dead dog, and then there's also a murder mystery. The book wasn't fully for me, but yeah, I appreciated it for what it was. The rep in it was very casual. It was just mentioned briefly once or twice, which, you know, is totally fine as well. The next book was Beyond Black Door by A.M. Strickland. So this is young adult fantasy. Also wasn't really my kind of book, but the rep here went into more detail. The next book was The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood. Not a lot of people mentioned that there's ace rep, but the main character is Demi, so it's there. And yeah, I really loved this adult contemporary romance. I'm looking forward to reading more by the author. And then the last book with this rep was The Cybernetic Teashop by Meredith Katz, which is a sci-fi novella. I also really enjoyed this one. So yeah, this was the most successful part of this 3-part goal. So with the second part, with the bi rep, I guess if I count books twice, I guess I read 5 too, but you know, it's because I'm repeating books. But anyway, the first book was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston. So this is an adult romance with a paranormal twist. I really enjoyed this. Then we have Heartstopper, which this year I read volumes 2 to 4 by Alice Oseman, and the books are at the bottom of a stack, and I'm too lazy to get it, so I will insert a picture. This is a young adult graphic novel series about 2 boys who meet in high school and fall in love, and one of them is bi, and yeah, it's one of my favorite series. The next book was Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett, and this is a young adult contemporary about a girl who's HIV positive, which was really interesting to read about, and she's also bi. And then yeah, let's repeat books because why not? So the main character of Beyond the Black Door is also bi, so that's 4. And then, you know, we have April May in this book who's bi. It's a sequel. So yeah, 5 books, almost made it, could have done better, but you know, it is what it is. And then the third part of this goal was the physical disability rep, which I didn't do well at. And yeah, it's something I want to remedy this year. So a book with this rep I absolutely loved last year was 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. So what drew me to this book mainly was that the main character has migraines, as I do, but then I ended up loving the book for so many different reasons. And then I guess we can count Beneath the Sugar Sky by Shannon McGuire. So yeah, I didn't say that for the rep I wanted it to be the main character, and I guess this book doesn't have a clear main character. There are like a bunch of kids, and if we count all of them as main characters, there's a character that her arm ends at at her elbow. And then again, full disclosure for the HIV rep. So that's 3, I guess. Then my next goal was to get my physical TBR under 6, which is pretty ambitious. Like, my TBR wasn't that big. I didn't write down how many books it was at the beginning of the year, and also I changed how I counted it like multiple times during the year. So this was a bit of a mess, and I don't even know how many books I had at the end of the year. I think my intention was to not count the books I got for Christmas. So I'm going to try to count right now. So yeah, I just tried to count, and yeah, this goal was a mess. Like, next time I really need to choose some rules and then stick to them. And I might be wrong, but it seems that I ended up at 10 books, which, you know, in either case is above the 6. So I didn't achieve this goal, but you know, I did read a lot of my physical TBR. So in the end, I'm pretty happy with this. Goal number 5 was to get my NetGalley TBR under 6. So the NetGalley TBR was something that has been haunting me for years. I mean, not really anymore, but yeah, from 2017 I requested like a bunch of books, and I think I had around like 20 unread at the beginning of the year. And you know, I did read a whole bunch of them, so I didn't get under 6. I think I ended up at 8 right now. I'm not checking this one so closely anymore, but yeah, I did read a lot of them, and with most of them it was a bit of a waste of time because they were like super random books that didn't end up being so good. So yeah, that was the NetGalley story for me. I learned my lesson. I might still read the remaining books that are on there. It's not going to be a goal. So yeah, I'm kind of closing this chapter. And then the last goal was also a goal that has been haunting me for years, but that, you know, I still cared until I achieved it. And that was to read all of Jane Austen's novels. So I think at the beginning of the year I have read 3, and yeah, it was just taking me a really long time to get to the remaining ones. So yeah, this year I finally read Mansfield Park, which you know, is probably near the bottom in my ranking of her novels, but I still really enjoyed it and appreciated it for what it was. And then I also read Northanger Abbey, so this was a really interesting one. Again, not near the top of my ranking, but also really enjoyed it. And then Persuasion was technically a reread, but the first time I read it in Czech ages ago, so I wanted to read it in English for the first time. And this one is one of my favorites, especially like the scene near the end that just like immediately like bumps it up 1 star at least. So yeah, I finally read all of her novels, which I'm really happy about. So yeah, those were my 2022 reading goals wrapped. I did pretty well, I think, but mostly I'm glad that these were goals that were serving me and, you know, led me to a lot of great books. And, you know, I enjoyed fulfilling them or trying to fulfill them. Let me know if you had some similar goals, or if you had totally different goals, or if you didn't set any goals at all. You know, that's okay too. But yeah, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Talk to me in the comments, and I will see you next time. Bye!